Hey, family. I'm Sharif Aman.
I'm Jenna Barbosa.
This is Love Speak Revolution.
Love meets you where you're at.
Yes, it does.
Yes. We are back again. Yes. So excited.
So excited to be here.
Thank you guys for being here with us. Yeah. Listen, our mission in this podcast is to revolutionize the idea that you have to have it all together to experience Jesus's love. Mm-hmm. No matter if you're a believer or not, like our heartbeat is just to really show you that Jesus' love meets you right where you are. And so that's what we're doing. We're just having some real talk and bringing you along for the ride. So what are we talking about today, sir?
Music.
So exciting.
Yes.
So exciting.
Music. Yes.
Yes. So Sharif is our resident musician. This will be a really cool episode just to hear a lot of your story.
Yeah.
Because, you know, and I even bring some music stuff to the table, and definitely not nearly like what you bring to the table, but I just have found love in music as well. But I'd love to just have you share kind of what music means to you and a little bit about your story.
Yeah. Well, I've been doing music since the womb.
Since the womb.
Yeah. I came out just singing.
Dancing to the beat of your
Dancing, right. Yeah. No, music for me was such a gift from the Father. It literally saved my life. Being raised in the trauma and chaos that I was raised in, ever since I was like 3, 4, I was, I tell the story, like my mom had a classical guitar in the house and I was like plucking the strings and making songs and playing. So cool. And I started at a young age, and that was kind of the thing, being that young, not really, you don't have the chance to get out. Yeah. I could only go if my mom goes out, and right. Whatever we're doing at the time. So I spent a lot of time playing that guitar. My mom would get on it and sing, and I would listen to her sing, and then records being played in music and old records. Yeah, vinyl records, Motown, just all the things. So I was really raised around music, and it was so vital to my life. And it was more than just a thing that you listened to, because it was like, it became the heartbeat. It became my blood. I knew that I was put here to do music. Yeah. Started writing music at like 7. The first song I wrote was "Girl in My Dreams."
Have you put music to it?
Oh yeah, I had like a little guitar part to it and everything like that. So I mean, it was it's been so great to it was like so mesmerizing to me to like listen to all the records and stuff, because I would listen to like the way that they were singing and then all the instruments, and I could hear everything, just the rhythm. But all kinds of music was played that I was around. They were listening to a lot of 70s stuff, a lot of, rock and funk and R&B. And then all of that changed, because then, my parents became Christian. And so I was at the tail end of that. And then I was raised so like a lot of the worship music and Christian music I didn't really like it too much, just because I felt like it was just kind of, I'm always going to be real. I felt like it was really corny.
Christian music's come a long way.
Yeah, now it's like,
it's
boom.
So different.
Yeah,
right?
It's so different. It's
that old school Christian. Woo.
Yeah, it was real hard. It was real hard.
Corny.
But music was like life for me. And so that was just something that was, but it wasn't, I enjoyed it, but it was more a life-saving thing for me.
Yeah.
And it was everywhere and very important and powerful to me. and the people that influenced me in music that I was listening to and learning from. And I took music in high school. I was in the choir, in the glee club, and that was just really training me on how to read music, how to sight read music. And then I took opera and diction in college.
I know you took
Voice major.
opera.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I'm a baritone, baritone one,
I could see
tenor two. That's like but my vocal coach, Katie Hendricks, has taken me way past tenor two.
I was gonna say, like, I think you're a little higher.
Yeah, she's amazing. But yeah, music has taken me on such an amazing journey of my life, and ended up in Nashville. Out of high school, I didn't go straight into college. I did a year at my state college, and then through my soccer coach and the team that I was on Virginia Black Watch team, which was amazing to be able to play on that team and be surrounded by the coaches that I was. But I got picked up by several guys on the team. Were going to this college, Coker College, and it's a musical arts college, private school in South Carolina. And my coach worked very hard with one of the staff scouts at Coker, and she did everything that she could to get me there and got me there. And so I went on a musical scholarship and a soccer scholarship to go to this college. And so that's what brought me more into the sight reading and I was in musical education with a major in voice and diction and theory. And my professor at the time wanted me to be an opera singer. And that's what I was training to be. And then I was going to be like in music ed, so a teacher. But that changed because I love the kids, but like performing is what I wanted to do. So yeah, it's just been an amazing journey, and where God has taken me and where music has brought me. And then I was in South Carolina with a band and did that whole thing for several years. And then I got found in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and taken to Nashville, Tennessee on a deal, on a co-pub deal, and took me there and spent a lot of years there.
Yeah.
Being honed, writing, performing. It was a great experience for me, but it was very difficult, very hard. But and then here I am in Portland, as a worship leader, and I'm still pursuing music.
Yeah, you're gigging a lot.
Yeah, gigging a lot more.
What kind of gigs do you do typically?
Yeah, I do. I have some solo gigs that I do. I do some winery gigs out here. I also have some travel solo gigs that I do. I'm with a wedding band.
So
and it's really fun, and it's allowing, I'm also doing a lot of writing with my buddy Troy Wellstead. And we'll have him in here too.
Yeah.
So, and he and his wife, Trisha Wellstead is going to be in here too on another episode. But music has just been so powerful, and I was able to like listen to some amazing music. It just saved my life to be able to like click on the radio and hear all of this music from all the genres. And it was so amazing. It just blew me away to hear what they were writing about, how you could express your hurt, your pain, your anger, your love, your emotions, and sing it, and the world could hear it, and people could hear it. I could create my emotion in song.
Yeah.
That was just like, it's still amazing to me to think that I can have an emotion and a feeling, and I can put music to that and a song and lyrics to that, and it comes alive, and I can express that and share that with people. So that was just something that was a way for me to express myself. It was an outlet for me that was really life-saving and powerful for me.
That's cool.
And it still is till this day to be able to do that and to hear the music and to have such a respect for the artists that had that did music, that were out there touring and world touring, the people that just and the times now. I don't. It's very interesting now. Like, I felt like I could find like a plethora of wonderful music,
Yeah.
but then it just got to be like in this time now where like I never want to take away or be negative towards somebody's expression, because that's what music is. Music is a gift that everybody gets to express it in their own way.
Yeah.
And that's what music does. It takes so many different forms
Yeah.
and so many different people, and that's the gift from God,
Yeah.
to allowing people all over the world, with instrument players to vocalists to writers, to express themselves in this form of art is amazing. And I never want to like, although I do have a way and I do have some feeling towards a lot of the music that's happening right now, only because I just feel like the developmental process is gone. I feel like it's a very much microwave thing, and you can be mediocre at what you do instead of the excellence. I feel like the developmental process towards leadership, like, what are you singing about? What are you wanting to do this for?
Yeah.
Like, or, you see this very me, selfish rock star, like, give me, follow me, you're mine, you're slaves to,
Yeah.
this whole thing, rather than like having something to say that nurtures and empowers people.
Yeah.
So it's really kind of hard, and I want to stay vague because I don't, again, like, we all get the chance and the gift to be able to express ourselves, but I still think that here's the three again: awareness, mentoring, and accountability. And
Yeah.
that is lacking in my industry, in the music industry. That is lacking.
Yeah.
And so we're just seeing a bunch of people, like a bunch of kids losing their minds, singing about feeling and emotion and whatever they want to sing about.
Yeah.
But music is that, but you got to be a leader as well. You gotta you can talk about hard times, but also talk about
Right.
healthy working through processing. But so in saying that, I do find some really cool artists, that are really doing some cool things. But at the same time, it's like, we're leaders.
There's like a
There's
responsibility
a
with the message you
responsibility
put out there.
and everybody has thrown that responsibility
Yeah.
out the window,
Yeah.
and it's really heartbreaking. And even as much as I feel like on both sides of the line, in terms of the expression of, because it's so crazy to me. God told me long time ago, when I was doing music for the wrong reasons. I was, and there's some other things that happened to me, maybe on a different episode, because I was in a lawsuit that ended up ripping my career apart, which is really, for a long time, I couldn't really talk about it because it was just so heartbreaking. But it literally took 5 years and that's like an artist's career.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of like coming out of the ashes of that, and God is blessing it and being so good. And it's really weird for me because it didn't happen the way that I wanted it to. And so I'm still processing through those emotions. But
Yeah.
Music, on both sides of the line now in worship, they're two different things. When I do a show and I have the gift of my expression of what I'm doing, that's a different thing. When I worship, that is not a show.
Yeah.
When I worship, that is me expressing my servitude and honor to the King of Kings, to Jesus, to Holy Spirit. Like, that is a different mode, which needs awakening, awareness,
Yeah.
mentoring, and accountability
Yeah.
and what worship is. And there's so many like people that I'm learning like there's a different culture, different cultures in that. And
Yeah.
it's very kind of challenging for me because I'm a fisherman. So sometimes there's no twists and turns for me. Sometimes it's just very blunt for me. Like
Yeah.
this isn't orange, it's yellow, right? Like we're worshiping the King of Kings.
It's yellow. It's
when
orange.
yeah. Sorry about that. It's not yellow. It's not ready yet. it's
It ain't right.
it's that green that goes to yellow that turns to orange. It's not ready yet.
Season.
Yeah, that's a lemon. Wrong fruit. But for me, it's just like, and this is somebody who ran from being a worship leader for 7 years. I didn't want to worship. I didn't want to be a worship leader in a church. Just that's a whole different. I ran from the church. Church hurt me. Church was just like whatever. But when I've got here, I've just seen and understood a different responsibility in leading worship, and I feel like it's a thing that's people don't know how to do that. They don't know how to like worship. They don't know what it is, and maybe that's something that we can do a study on. Maybe that might be another episode.
Yeah.
But music in itself is so amazing, as we've seen over the years how amazing music is, and we see the power of music for evil or the power for good. We see what music can do. Music can make you feel so energized, make you feel so happy. It can make you feel so sad. It can make you cry. It can make you feel angry and upset. I mean, it is powerful. Music is powerful. And I feel like in the wrong hands, it can be destructive as we've seen. But it's so amazing. I can't speak enough about music, and it's taken me all over the world. And I've met so many great artists and musicians who are great friends till this day, and it's just it's amazing what that I get the opportunity and the blessing to be able to express music in the way that I see it. And then I get to continue to learn and be mentored in the way of worshiping. So it's like I've got like God showed me a long time ago before I knew what was up. He's like, I'm going to use you both in the bar and the church. And I was like, what? It was like sacrilege for the time that I was coming up because I was already getting enough heat because I was an artist in the church. He's like, you're going, you're not going to heaven. But God was like, no, I'm going to use you in both places. So it's amazing because I actually have a gig coming up this Friday in a bar, and they've asked me to lead worship in a bar. And I'm like, what? You know what I'm saying? Mind blown.
Totally,
So Casting Irons in Enumclaw, Washington. If y'all want to like throw some axes and get some wonderful food. It's a high-end axe throwing bar. Wonderful food, and it's a wonderful establishment. Isaiah and Riley Harris, that family is so dear to my heart. They are an amazing group of people. The whole family is amazing. The establishment is amazing. You guys should check it out. It's so great, Casting Irons. But yeah, so it's like this journey that I've gotten to take with music has been so amazing.
I love that.
To understand like the responsibility of music, and just the enjoyment to be able to create in that mode.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
I love that. Yeah, I think that a lot of what I hear is just that it's an ebb and flow. It's not a linear process. It's very a lot of twists and turns that you're learning as you go, and you're still learning. And I think just any industry that we're in, it's the same thing. It's your passions, your dreams. Like you're gonna have to mold around with it and learn what works, what doesn't work, and where do I fit into those, and who do I trust in that, and having things that go awry, and then going, oh gosh, how do I pull back from that? It sounds like that is definitely where you're at, and I think that a lot of times, industries like the film industry and the music industry, like entertainment type industries, I think are often put on the side of like exceptions to the rule,
Yeah.
and a lot of people think it's almost like they idealize it and like, oh,
Mhm.
well, they it's just all glamour, right? It's just all rock star style. Like, yeah, there's those moments of having joy and amazing things, but that's also found in other industries.
Yeah,
And I
that's exactly right.
I have a good friend who's in the acting industry, and she has been on big films, and she and I have talked multiple times about just the ins and outs of the career
Mhm.
of filmmaking and being an actress in Hollywood and those type of things. And it's it's not all glamour and
Yeah.
fun. So I think that that's kind of where, like, when it's a real passion, for musicians in the music industry, like, it's like you guys are real people. Your struggles are real. You're going through real things.
Mhm.
You're living your dream in the sense of having these opportunities to do the things that you're passionate about. But it's the same in the sense of the ebb and flow of trying to figure out your space in it. And I think that a lot of people really kind of struggle with that to almost put musicians or Hollywood people or entertainment biz people like up on a pedestal,
Mhm.
right? As like, oh, they've arrived. And I think that that's so important to kind of just have that realization of like, oh, they're real people still
Yeah.
on the ebb and flow of it. And that's kind of what
Mhm.
I hear you saying is like it's so amazing and fun and a gift and passionate. But there's also just the real humanity aspect of it too attached to it.
Absolutely. And I think that's I love the fact that you're talking about that because um the mysticism of the godlike that the fan can
Yeah,
put
like
you
idols.
on, like the being idolized, right?
Yeah.
But then for the artist to turn around and and play that role
Yeah.
and just be like, yes, I am,
Worship
like,
me.
worship me,
Yeah.
I am a god, this is my thing.
Mhm.
No, you're serving. We
Yeah.
are servants.
Yeah.
We get to serve and we get to express and share.
Yeah.
I'm just a human being.
Yep.
It doesn't matter if I'm on the stage with 500,000 people or
Yeah.
1,000,000 people out in the stands. It's the joy of getting to express and shine my light and
Mhm.
who I am and to pour out my love
Yeah.
in music in this moment of expression and love back and
Mhm.
forth. It's an exchange of love and life.
Yeah.
That is the thing, not worship me. Like,
No.
no. And that's the part that's just so sad,
Yeah.
because you get more out of it. Like, if you can maintain
Mhm.
that understanding in that position
Mhm.
of this is life exchange. I'm just a regular human being. That's good at what I do and that you're connecting with me, but you're amazing as well. All
Yeah.
of you are amazing in what you do.
Yeah.
I've never kind of been, and I mean, I've done a lot of stuff, but I think that's the thing to be able to be grounded. And I'm glad that I never had that in me
Yeah.
of, kind of, I never been that way. I wanted to like world tour and I wanted to be on the
Yeah.
stage with 500,000 people, but it wasn't for the point of like, look at me. It was for the point of, because I could pour myself out and we can exchange this electrical moment of
Yeah.
love and just energy for each other and wanting to change the atmosphere and the lives of people in that moment. So I want them to leave better than they came.
Yeah. And I think I love that you're saying that because I think that that's where that's such a passion for you that you get to just have a place to be passionate
Yeah.
with something that is a gifting for you. And I think a lot of times when people try to they idolize that industry and then they say like, "Oh, well, I want to be like so and so." So then they step into an area that they're not truly called to. They might be gifted and talented, but they maybe aren't like called to that or that's not like really their strengths.
Mm.
But because they're trying to be like somebody because that somebody gets all the things that they've idolized and looked at as the answer to happiness,
Hmm.
they go after that. And I think that that's something that can be dangerous because then that person's not going into their calling.
Yeah.
I think that that's similar to kind of my story in the sense of I like I also grew up doing music and was in the band, choir, like those type of things in high school. Had a little trio that we
Mm.
sang. We were called Hearts of Praise. But, we traveled and we did other shows like out of state and we were on the radio in Montana, like just some fun things that we did in my teen years. And then when I got to college, formed a band. And what I loved is like I learned guitar and piano by ear. So
Mhm.
I was able to just express kind of those areas where I wanted to.
Yeah.
But I didn't know a lot of like the music theory, so I felt limited,
Mhm.
but I wanted to do the recording artist thing. I did commercial music as a major. But I was running from psychology and because I was like, I'm not going to be another one in my family that's following the psychology route. So I had some college years where I had my band and wrote music and we played coffee houses around our college town and did a couple little cuts on albums and stuff like that. And I mean, it never went anywhere, other than just kind of the local scene. But there were times when I really wanted to be that recording artist because I thought that that was going to bring me kind of a different acceptance, right? That was different than my family and different than the things that I was running from that God was calling me to, that my true gifting was in. Um, and it was interesting because it's like I wasn't a bad singer. I wasn't a bad musician,
Mhm.
but I wasn't like a standout, let's do this as a career type of musician. And so whenever I kept hitting walls of like, okay, this just isn't working, and I was also going through some stuff in my personal life too, I God was like, you got to just lay down music. Like that's not where I want you. And
Mhm.
because where he had gifted and called me to was the world of psychology and teaching and coaching and counseling and speaking and all of that. And so I think that when you say like music is an expression, it's so good because that is the lane that you express you,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
I express me with the speaking, counseling, coaching, all of that lane. And my point in that is so many people, if we look at music as what it is and the industry as what it is and take that off of the idolization, right? And just
Mm.
enjoy music as a gift and we stop looking at like what we think it's going to give us or
Mhm.
what we think it's giving the artists, but
Mhm.
just to enjoy their gifting and their calling, then we're able to just sit and rest in our calling and then you can rest in your calling and we all get to enjoy each other's callings, right?
Right.
And I think that that's where you're seeing a ton of competitions out there in the music industry. Everybody's trying to compete,
Right.
everybody's trying to be everybody.
Right.
They're like, I met an artist recently and she was actually on she's legit, she's new, kind of like upcoming like in the industry, Laurel Taylor. I don't know if you know her. She's but she was on American Idol.
Mm.
And she told me, she said, J-Lo told her, you don't even know who you are. And it was a moment where she was like, you know what? You're right. Like, and that was something that she had to go through her own journey. And she came to know the Lord and had just shifted and does some worship leading, but also is in the country industry and
Mhm.
trying to break in that way. But she was saying like that, I really was. I didn't really know who I was. And so many times I think that it's like the passionate things like music, people get lost in because they think it brings them something other than just being a place to be who God's created you to be, right? That's a place for people like you guys to step into and fully express the gifting and the calling that God has given you.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful on the receiving end. Like who Laurel is now, we sat under her concert and it was like, oh, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Every time I sit under you and hear you, I'm like, that's amazing. Like it's a gifting and it moves people.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something that just a lot of people really forget, like the power of music when it comes from somebody who is gifted and passionate about it versus somebody who's just doing it to get something.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different thing. And so I think there's more appreciation. I think kind of what my point I'm getting at really is the appreciation for music has to be there because we're able to see that person that is living out their passion. And that's the music we get to enjoy.
Right.
Not just, oh, I wonder what that's giving them in their life. And look at all the money they're making and all the friends and like we lose the gift of music if we're looking at what we think it's bringing them.
Right. And that's like what I had. That's what I learned. I had worked so hard, but I forgot about the gift of music. And when I lost it all, lost everything, I was reminded again, because when everything was pulled away, I had the gift of music still.
Yeah.
Even when it took me a while to like figure it out again, because I thought it was done, but I was putting my success towards the rejection, towards the lawsuit, towards the unjust lawsuit, towards everything. I was putting my success as I failed and pulled it. And then it was like, oh, so you're allowing man, counterfeit. So I had to, so the counterfeit was burned up, everything lost. And in the ashes, the value. And now I remember again, oh, here's the gift. This is my lane. This is why I'm doing this. This is why I was given this. Whether it's to one person or, you know, whatever, if it only reaches so many, at least it's reaching, you know, and then at least God can enjoy my music. The gift that he gives me, I know he enjoys everything I do.
Give it back to him.
Right. So I had to be reminded of that lane and of, hey, this is it. And I got so convoluted and programmed by society and culture saying like, you only are going to be heard if you're this person and you have this many likes and if you have this many people selling out your concerts and if this label recognize you or this independent label recognize you and the people recognize you and you're touring all over the world. And that's when, no, that has nothing to do with success, and that has nothing to do with, you know, you had made a quote on one of the other episodes about, you know, I'm going to spend, you know, you give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, I'm going to spend 4 sharpening my axe and 2 chopping down the tree. Well, I spent my, you know, honing my skills, and now it's just kind of like where I had, you know, I'm glad that I was reminded of why, because most people never get back to why they were given the gift. They get so lost in the rat race and so lost in the counterfeit chase, the counterfeit. But yeah, it's I don't know what it looks like. And sometimes it's scary. And sometimes I get sad because I wanted to travel different countries to express to different people. And I wanted the world to see I wanted to share goodness and love and light and through my craft. God willing, though. If that's what God wants and that's the platform that he wants for me, then he'll do that. But if that's not what he has for me, then I'm learning to be thankful and grateful and okay with his will and what he has, you know.
It's good.
But it's just, yeah, you're right, you know, and we all have our lanes. We're just speaking of music, but it's beautiful when you can, because we're all different, beautifully, fearfully, wonderfully made. And in that, we have passions and creativity. And it's really awesome when people embrace that creativity and realize their lane and just thrive in that and sharpen their tools in that. That's so, I love seeing that. I love seeing you in your zone and in your lane working, right? It's like this thing. It's like, it's cool. Like everybody has their different things. I love seeing different artists and hearing different songs. And, you know, I'm like, sometimes I'm like, dang, I wish I wrote that song. That's a great song. Oh. You know, but I'm excited for the artist that's finding their way. Like young people, you know, whoever's doing what they're doing with in therapy or just whatever, like in their lane, and they're creating and creating new things and putting another block up there of
Yeah.
that things that people didn't think about, and the different ways people are creative. That's such the gift of
Yeah.
God, the massiveness of God, to be able to give gifts that everybody can be individual, nobody better than anybody else, but just everybody's beautiful in how they create and what they do and the way that they do it.
And I love that you're saying that because, like, I remember when actually the very first time that we met, we had gone to brunch with our mutual friend that we met through, and I was saying something at the table, and you repeated a phrase that I had said, and you go, that's a song lyric," and you're like, "I need to make a song out of that," or something like that. And I just was like, "Oh, but he's totally a musician." Like, just it just was like, that's how you operate. And it's so funny because, like, me as an author and counselor, I'm
Yeah.
always like, "That's a good book title." Like, I'm
Right.
always like, "That's a good book title. Oh, that would be a good book." And I have like 20 book titles on my notes
Yeah.
in my
Yeah.
phone, And just and I think because so like me in that kind of lane of psychology, you in that lane of music, we flow so well together when we're creating
Yeah.
even, things about just even this podcast and thinking through some of those dynamics because of that creative zone that connects,
Yeah.
right? But it's different, but it's blending, it's complementing. And I think that that's a beautiful thing about really stepping into our gifting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of like a sidebar, what is like your favorite? Let's talk about like genres real quick. Like, what's your favorite genre that you like?
Honestly, I am just a lover of all music.
Yeah.
Like I can't do like I can do some screamo, but the one thing that
Yes,
I can do it. Like I do like some emo stuff.
Yeah,
Man. I do. It's just so
Screamo
brilliant.
emo.
Yeah, I like how, and it's a lot of control to learn to do
Oh,
that. Is an art. But I think the thing that I can't like really do is kind of like the death metal.
yeah.
I have a respect for just the way that like playing, but it's just I can't. I'm very sensitive and emotional. Like an empath. I'm an empath, so it's just I'm very sensitive to the atmosphere of
Yeah.
what's going on in the atmosphere, and some like that. Like that's one thing I can't do. But like
Yeah.
R&B, hip hop, love bluegrass, love rock, southern rock, love hip hop, of course, love country. Older traditional country. And I can kind of I like there's some cool like writing of like kind of like what's some new age stuff that's happening right now. Like I love classical.
Yeah.
I love opera. I love all kinds of different cultures and how they do music.
Yeah. Cultural music is
Cultural music, world music. I love it.
really
Like different cultures, how they're just their chord progressions, and so that's just like I know I gave you like a broad thing, but I'm very serious. I'm just a lover of music. I love it all. Like jazz,
Love. Good.
blues, just
Yeah. I love that. I go through cycles, I think, kind of like depending on where I'm at.
yeah.
I connect with music as an expression in the sense of like connecting with it as expressing for me. Um, and I think that like a lot in the season I'm in right now of life, like indie folk is my jam. Like just really that, like it's very much my personality, right? Like,
Yeah.
can you kind of just see me like in indie folk? It's just that that chill, laid back, kind of just finding the flow and singer songwriter type style of just kind of like I love singer songwriter style music because it's like you're putting like all your thoughts quickly in, jamming it into like this really beautiful cadence. It's like, let me say 10 words in one phrase,
Right.
But it's so very like, oh my gosh, yeah, I just basically could have said that type of thing.
Yeah.
But I just love it. It's just it's almost kind of like a hippie feel for me, where it just
Yeah.
So indie folk is definitely kind of where my
Yeah.
heart's at right now.
Yeah, that's
But
cool.
I love a lot of genres too. Like I talked about in one of our episodes with self-care, I put some good old, Harry Connick Jr. and
Yeah.
Luther Vandross and so
That's
I
that good
just
stuff.
I love like some old, old stuff. I feel like I kind of ebb and flow with them, but I'm one that is like I'll pretty much listen to whatever's on. The ones that I don't really do so well with is just like the real raunchy rap stuff I can't get behind.
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
It's just too degrading to women and even men too, but just
Yeah.
I can't get behind that. But then like I struggle a little bit with like the real twangy old school country. It just feels a little too like it's like steak that's like so chewy. Like they're just chewing on it so long,
Yeah.
But I do enjoy some of that old, like Jamie Johnson type style.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he's pretty good. But yeah, I do. I kind of I switch up genres, but I think that the one I've really found the pocket that I love the most is probably indie folk.
Indie folk.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really cool. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. I like that,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
folk. Like I can do some indie folk. There's some really interesting things, pop, neo soul.
Yeah, yeah,
There's some really cool things happening
yeah.
with
There really is.
that.
FYI, just shameless plug. He's on Spotify.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Sharif
you kind of are
Iman.
around the world. Sharif Iman.
Yeah, maybe.
Spotify.
Maybe so. I don't
Yeah.
yeah.
But really good though. Really good, guys. Listen.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Yeah.
You're way better live. Like
Yeah.
you're great. I
Thank
love your
you.
tracks, but you're definitely way better live.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love just how powerful music is. I think it's interesting like what you were saying earlier, how like the emotions, it can make you feel this, it can make you feel that, it can make you feel this. And like I love like music therapy
Yeah.
when those combine, when those two worlds really combine, and how it's so almost magical, like with people who have Alzheimer's.
Mm-hmm.
It pulls their brain out of Alzheimer mode
Mm-hmm.
into memory. Like music helps process. That's why I think so many people connect so much with music, because it allows them to process things that they're not able to just linguistically in their logical brain, because it's two different sides of the brain that really get activated. But I think music takes over all parts of the brain, and so it allows just a lot more fluid motion of thought and emotions and feelings and processing, which is why so many times you've seen people who have Alzheimer's who will listen to a song, especially one that they've grown up with singing and know so well, and all of a sudden they're present fully themselves again. And it triggers back those old associations. But you just see that a ton, and a lot of music therapy with healing and trauma and kids. And it's just so powerful, the effect it has literally on a neurological level to the brain, not just feel good, connecting, expressing of self, but like it totally changes your brain chemistry when you're engaging in music.
Right.
Which can also be detrimental if you're listening to some crazy music.
Right.
But it
Words,
can also be
everything is
super
power.
powerful when you listen to some amazing music.
Words are powerful.
Powerful.
The vibrations of music is powerful. Like, the different levels, it's all powerful.
Yeah.
There's nothing weak, and it's like it does affect the body on a
molecular level. Because of those vibrations. Like we're 90 something percent water in our bodies. Like the vibrations of music changes the molecular level.
That's right.
Of our being. I think that if you have you heard the rice study or the water study, where you speak into, or even plants, like you speak into a jar of rice in water, you speak like loving words, kind words, uplifting words, and you shut the lid, and you do that like hateful words, degrading words into another jar and shut the lid, and you do that every day for like a week or a couple weeks, and the one that you speak hateful stuff to will turn kind of start to mold and turn black, and then the one that you're speaking life into will stay fresh. And it's just because the vibrations, it changes the molecular structure with those things. And so when we put words to vibrations of music, it
The
hits us to the
frequency,
core.
yeah, getting the right frequencies
Yeah.
of the. I mean, it's so much more
There's so
than
many
what we
layers.
know.
Yeah.
It's more than what we know.
Yeah.
Um, so it's just it's
Yeah.
I feel like the awareness of the gift that we have, and I'm not saying that I know it all, but I am aware that it's powerful and greater than just rock star or being, you know, that positive thing, like
Yeah.
the words that we speak. How powerful are words? God spoke the word,
Yeah.
the world into existence.
Mm.
He spoke it. It's powerful.
Yeah.
He speaks life. It's like, man, power of the tongue. There's life and death in the power of the tongue.
Yeah. And there's music in nature.
Sure
The
is.
sounds of the birds and the
Ocean,
sounds of the ocean, the waves
crickets,
and
bugs.
the leaves rustling. Like God is a musical
Yeah.
God. Music is a gift from
Wild
him.
beasts, big, small,
Yes, just
all
all
singing
of it. The
during
way
the
that
day, during the night.
the way that certain animals call out to each other.
Even the stars, there's a frequency we can't even hear the
Really?
stars. There's frequencies and God,
Yeah.
it is so there's light frequencies that we can't even see
Yeah.
before us right now. Sound frequencies that we can, it's
Yeah.
massive.
It is. And dogs can hear frequencies we
Yeah.
can. And
Yeah.
kids can hear frequencies like adults can't. Like there's so much to that. And so it is. I think that like the core of really kind of the heartbeat that I hear us both saying really through this episode is there's just such a gift in music.
Yeah.
And it's something that goes beyond just turning the streaming on and listening to the thing that you love the most, but
Absolutely.
really checking in and saying, what is it doing? And if you are a musician, are you pursuing music from your passion and your gifting or to compete with the industry?
Right. Right. And for the longest time, I had to be honest, I was competing in the industry.
Mm.
I had a lot more to compete with. I felt like I was the dreadheaded stepchild,
Mm.
was in like a white world trying to like not rap, not this, but I was doing chocolate rock. I was doing this folk thing,
Yeah.
this because I grew up universally,
Yeah.
and so I felt like I had to, instead of, but it was like rejection and everything. That you're not good enough, not letting me in. Instead of standing, I did stand in an independence way, but I just became very much of a gladiator
Mm.
and against the system instead of being like, this is who I am and I'm just gonna. I did stay that way, but it was with a shield and a sword, and it's just like a different thing. Um,
Instead of being at rest in your gifting and
yeah,
settling in that.
exactly. Like this doesn't define who I am, but like when I got in the lawsuit and then everything hit,
Mm-hmm.
my answer was take my life.
Mm.
So, you know what I'm saying? Then you
It
don't
held so much power
because
for you.
yeah,
You could have,
because
yeah.
instead of instead of being like, yeah, this stings, you rejected me, this lawsuit unjustly is happening, but this doesn't define who I am. I'm going to continue. You know what I'm saying? It's
I
like
do.
it was very hard to be in those moments, but now it's like, okay, I know what defines me. Now it's like kind of like God's will,
Yeah.
God's will be done. And honestly, like seeing, knowing, and then maybe that's another episode, the darkness of
Mm.
the acting
Yeah.
industry, the darkness of the music
Yeah.
industry. There's really some dark stuff
Yeah.
happening and going on that people just don't realize. And I think that's another thing that God saved me from.
Yeah.
Like,
And
so
I think too, like you're having more fun in
absolutely.
your life right now because of that
Yeah.
surrender to God,
Exactly.
whatever. Like I'm using my gift just
Yeah.
because it's not the way I want to do it
Right.
doesn't mean I'm not getting to do it.
Right. Yeah.
It's just looking different. And I think
Yeah.
that leaning into that at rest, following God's lead
Yeah.
aspect of where you are with God's will,
Right.
you're actually having more peace and joy and freedom and variety and experience and fun with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's those moments where it's like, man, I wish it, would have looked like this or would look like that. And those are valid and okay moments, right? But like really looking into like saying, man, but look at what is working.
Yeah.
Look at what God is doing and look at
Absolutely.
the joy that's bringing me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
It
so
was
good.
cool.
This is so awesome, everybody. We hope you enjoyed this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good to just chit chat about something so close to
Yeah.
Sharif's heart. And
Yeah. It was
I
good.
know so close to so many people's hearts. So many people connect with music on such a deep level. So
Yeah.
I think this was good.
Yeah, this was really
Yeah.
good.
Make sure to like, follow, share, subscribe, all the good stuff.
Yeah.
Just get the word out. We'd love to have the growing family.
Yes.
But yeah, we're so glad that you guys were here with us
Thank
today.
you so much. We're growing and we love it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for tuning in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm Sharif Aman.
I'm Jenna Barbosa.
And this is Love Speak Revolution.
Love meets you where you're at.
Yes, it does. Take care. We'll see you soon.
Bye, guys.